Hello and welcome to the last part of the Pacifist run of Into the Radius. In this video we cover the secondary missions before the castle and the castle itself. For the secondary missions I will just cover those that I picked as a bit of a challenge and could have been avoided, but to be honest just made the game more fun. To begin with, a paparazzi mission a bit more tricky than the previous ones I had done, but not too much. The mimic picture was easier than expected, especially considering I was not sure which mimic the one I had in front was, and I was lucky that it was the correct one first try. And some more luck because the BTR was just passing by, and this can be quite easy as far as you are taking cover. As you will also see later, as far as you are using the shadow of the trees as a reference, you will be quite safe from its machine gun. For the slider I was thinking of going to the area close to the entry that accesses Vano directly. However, that spawn was going to be annoying, so I decided to teleport, which ended up being quite a long detour. Here I am pushing my luck going too close to this seeker, which made the detour much longer. I would go for the first time to the castle area, loot the first buildings and then continue with this mission. At this point I was still quite afraid of sliders. I did not know yet that one can run away from them even without sprinting, so with two sliders and the mimic shooting I thought I was screwed. But luckily they are quite harmless if you keep moving. As you can see, by the end of this run I had lost some of my fear to sliders. Next, in and out 4. Easy shock anomalies which can only lead to death. In and out 3, a simple one. And in and out 8, shock anomalies with sliders added on top. I panic because the slider hits me, and panicking and shock anomalies are a bad combination. Same mistake, but I survive with a pixel left of health. And now in and out 7. I did not think I had done this mission before, so I was curious to give it a shot. Up to this point it was looking fine, but a close BTR and a mimic could be troublesome. BTR, the anomalies, the slider, panic, a painful death to watch. Second try, at least now I knew where the anomalies were located. I should have gone to the left for the cover, but I don't do it. And then I'm being stingy with the syringes again, which cost me this attempt. I don't know if the smoke grenades are helping, but at least now I went to the left to take cover. And now I'm looking for a shadow that will indicate me where the BTR won't see me. Finally, Ouroboros, the last mission. I grabbed the regen artifact and some extra syringes and smoke grenades. Before this run, I had only finished the game twice, so when I was attempting this, I did not know well the location of the enemies and what would be the best approach. Because of this, as you will see during this mission, I allowed myself to save and load the game quite often. However, recently I did some extra tests in this area, and right after this video I am uploading an attempt to the castle without dying and in a pacifist way, so that you can see how this could look like after some more preparation. Considering the issues I faced during this run, I would divide the castle in 3 sections. The method for the first and third section that you will see in this video are quite similar to what I would consider a decent approach to do them. However, for the second section I was using a quite bad approach, as I will comment as we reach there. For a while I was thinking that section 1 and 3 could be improved further by trying to lure the enemies completely out of their positions and out of the buildings. But after some other tests, I found invisible walls that some of the enemies won't cross. That's why I think that the approach for these parts is okay in this video. Regarding the outside area between sections 2 and 3, after more attempts I think that it can be done without almost any risks, so I would not consider it a problematic section. And now for the section 1. My original idea was to make some noise to try to condense the enemies in the room with multiple columns, and hopefully there run past them. This method is not the most reliable yet, and as you will see I had to do quite some tries to get the timing of the mimics right. This was quite far for a first try, and the position of the mimics was pretty good. Perhaps with more syringes I could have done it. I think that the idea of hiding here for a second has potential, although I have not explored it more, but be sure not to run past the wall. Another failure, but I'm starting to finally use more syringes, which is necessary. And now I'm taking more time to prepare and wait for the mimics to move farther. Although this time it was too far. After these attempts, I would consider this one to be my first proper one, although I made a critical mistake. Quite painful to watch, but a lesson learned. Do not go into that position because you cannot exit. You have to go by the left side. And right after that attempt, the final one happened. Surprisingly clean. In future tries, I have been able to reproduce this result most of the times, so this part can be done without too many risks. However, it can happen that some of the mimics don't hear your shots, but there are small places to hide that can help you if this happens to you and the last ones were farther. And now for section 2. Only one mimic to worry about, but shock anomalies. Right after this little bridge to the left, there is an AKS mimic. I found him to be surprisingly accurate. And after a few more attempts, I made the mistake of trying to lure him out of this place, which really complicated things. The idea of waiting here was quite good, but after trying now, I didn't try this again and I should have done it. So I started the approach of luring him out of his little place. Because he has quite a long walk ahead, it is difficult to predict where he will be located. Here I am waiting to listen his steps, but this is a tricky location with the shock anomalies. In my mind, this was almost the optimal place to try to run past him, just in this corner, but it did not work. This was almost perfect timing for what I had in mind. With him behind, there was no way I could be so nervous that I would do a terrible mistake. Yes, this happened. And buckle up because later there is a worse one. As you will see in the video in which I do the whole mission without dying, this part can be trivial if when he is in his little place, you throw some smoke grenades and just run. I do not recommend trying to lure him out of his little wooden box. Don't attempt this at home. And finally, the last try of the section 2 of this video. Funnily enough, he was never coming. I couldn't listen to his steps. He was probably still in his box, I was wondering. But if you look carefully, he's in the water. He fell in the water and never touched me. And I felt lucky, but somehow a bit like cheating. But anyway, I was happy about it. Here I actually tried to look back because I dropped my lantern, but I was never gonna use it again, so well, screw it. And now, carefully, don't mess the ladders up. One last good checkpoint to attempt the final push. This first try had many issues and I was quite concerned about the mimic shooting. That's why I'm going a bit more to the left than I should. Also, as an advice, don't use the syringes against your chest as they don't work so well. For having run out of stamina so soon and using so few syringes, I reached quite far. And another painful watch in which I wasted too much time throwing grenades. Finally, what could be considered a decent attempt, in which I use syringes non-stop. There is something else worth noticing, that the slider almost never runs through these gates, so you don't have to worry about him once you pass. Remember, if you're sprinting, you can't grab stuff from the back. You have to stop sprinting. If you thought that when I died in the ladder was sad, this one tops it. I basically had finished. I will explain myself because, well, basically I ran and I was not seeing. It was very dark there was this anomaly thingy that didn't let me continue, and I thought I had died. And they kept on shooting at me, and I was wondering what was going on, why there was not the load screen, so I waited there for like 5 seconds. And I was pressing forward, and I was not moving forward. And sorry about that. Boom! Headshot! To not repeat the mistake and see what was ahead of me, I turned on the lamp to be able to maneuver around the thing. And that is it, finally success. As part of the preparation for the attempt without dying, I tried this section plenty of more times, and I was successful around 30 to 50% of them. So this approach is not as bad as it seems. In some of these tries I did not use smoke grenades, and it could also be done with perhaps a bit of less reliability. My record was to do this 3 out of 4 times in a row. And an appropriate ending for a pacifist run: if someone is going to die, it is you. Probably because of shock anomalies. Thank you all for watching.